4v3.
Evan from Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a wall. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are getting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. They're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
We are shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio. That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3 Melophobia. Start the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy. Popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
And we're back with some more CGL Season 16 action. We are going into the EU Masters Division. We have Brigged Up versus T4T. Very excited to see these two teams come back at it in the rest of really what we have left of the regular season before playoffs does kick off. Spec, we are so close to that playoff bracket, so close to seeing which of these teams in all of our divisions do qualify for their playoff brackets.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be on the horizon for these two teams, so their best hope they can qualify. Obviously, make it to that postseason, a win in of itself. You really do want to get, towards the end, towards maybe getting a title, perhaps something for bragging rights heading into the next season of CGL. It's just a nice thing to have. So, we're Brigged Up and T4T still on the cards for them, I do believe. Obviously, Season 19 still pretty freshly out, and so far, I'm not saying it's been exactly the same as the previous patch, but it's been pretty similar, right? No one really changed. And so we are definitely in an era of the game where your fluency with what you were already playing is much more important than your ability to adapt. Something that nobody will have to adapt to. It was the first map, Lijiang Tower. We've all played it 6 billion times.
We absolutely have. This is kind of just your staple of control, like how we have one for hybrid, of course, that being King's Row. So with that being said, Lijiang Tower, the Gardens, the Night Market, Control Sensor, all giving way to so many different compositions. But you mentioned it, the meta has not really shifted too crazy. And I have to agree. We've been seeing a lot of the same kind of characters, same kind of play styles come to fruition here, especially, again, the backline really popular with Kiriko, with Wu Yang. Lucio, of course, a staple as well in a lot of these brawl comps that you will see a lot more so on Lijiang Tower, especially when we go into things like Night Market or Control Sensor. Now, as always, we got the bans coming up. T4T are banning first here, and they have the wide array of characters at their disposal. The world really is their oyster here. So with that being said, Spec, how could you kind of see them start leaning for their first ban?
Probably either you want to play Wu Yang or ban Wu Yang. Most teams seem to be focusing their kind of ban strategy around this hero, so I would expect to see either a Wu Yang ban straight up or ban like a Weaver, Kiri, anything that can take away the Wu Yang options. But Genji ban coming through. To be fair, he does have a pretty ridiculous win rate right now, and if it's something your DPS can't play, then you'd rather just take him off the table.
Yeah, and honestly, the lack of pressure on that backline is very much appreciated from your backliners, of course. So, with that being said, the Genji out of the way does leave open Tracer, does leave open kind of your other flankers that do fulfill that same role. So, I do expect to see Tracer at some point, especially with her just kind of she's Tracer. She's kind of just always good. I can't lie. But Brigged Up are coming down on their ban. They have the option of a tank or a support ban. No repeat roles in CGL ban phases. So with that being said, Brigged Up closing in on this timer. And we're going to actually go over to the Queen as a preferred ban over the Orisa, over the Czar, over a Ramattra, over anything else. It's Queen getting out of here.
Yeah, Queen at target ban, one has to assume, right? I mean, she's not great right now. She's not terrible. At the end of the day, Rampage is always going to be essentially a guaranteed fight win, but it's not what I would immediately think of, right? You know, obviously the Genji being removed, actually pretty interesting in that, you know, Genji Queen both have a lot of synergy, but neither will be played. Maybe in the future it shall be a possibility, but we can take a gander at these teams, try and see who's maybe got the upper hand here. I'm going to start off with Brigged Up. Shadowy, Stens, Hamblsaus, Horseboy, and Vincio are going to be playing. Obviously, Shadow, some CGL stuff himself, and their record so far of Brigged Up going to be 5-1. So only taken the one loss so far. So their seeding going into playoffs already fantastic. They want to see if they can make it better.
Oh, 100%. And against their opponents for Brigged Up will be T4T, seeing their starting 5 line up as well. It should be a good one, right? So with that being said, already 5-1, like you said, they are looking fantastic, Brigged Up, going into the playoff, or at least into the regular season, going into playoffs. They're fantastic. But with that being said, Brigged Up, goodbye, gang. I want to go over and talk about T4T's starting lineup. Please. Thank you. Beautiful. We have T4T coming up on deck here. We have Panarchism. We have Fallen. We have Rose, Tommy, and Bluey. Very excited to see these guys come back. They did previously play in Chase the Stars, an EU Marginalized Agenda tournament. That was very fun for our EU team. So they're coming back, doing some more work here and some more representation. So I love that for them. With that being said, though, 10 players head-to-head to duke it out in this week 7 of matches. Very, again, fast approaching the end of the regular season. Going over to Lijiang Tower. Rose's favorite character is the Jungle Queen, so she's not going to be able to play her, which I did just peep here. So maybe this is more of a definitely more of a targeted ban than we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, T4T obviously haven't dropped a series so far. This is going to be their first opportunity to do so, at least their most likely one, as their opponent's also very strong. So two of the really strong contenders in that EU Master Division going to be under the microscope today. Obviously, Lijiang Tower, a map where we've been seeing lots of Zarya, and considering the similarities between, you know, her and Junker Queen, one has to assume that that's going to be on the cards at the very least for T4T. Because right now the hero just does kind of a obscene amount of damage, right? That perk where you get the extra 3 energy from your right clicks. It just means that your uptime is high enough that even if you aren't getting ridiculous bubble value, you're still maintaining a decent level of damage. So that's definitely going to be something I'm expecting as we start thinking about Lijiang.
Oh, 100%. And I've been saying Zarya has been a menace for a while now, ever since, not even last season, or not even last patch, but the patch previous. Especially with her synergy with a Zarya and a Reaper, or a Reaper and, Zarya and a Genji. Of course, he's out of the equation, but the same premise is, in fact, there. Either way, head-to-heads, they don't lie. I see a couple of, Stay actually can't even play Genji as well. I just realized that at the same time. Sorry, I'm a little late today, but that being said, I do want to see what they're going to kind of go towards, what he's going to play in lieu of the Genji. Again, my mind goes to Tracer almost immediately for pretty obvious reasons as a strong character in of herself. But with that being said, we're starting things off. Sounds like we are going over to Control Center. So very tight-knit, very small and close spaces. And this is likely we're going to see the brawl really flourish from both of these teams.
One has to assume so, right? The only comp you can play on this map, which isn't Brawl, is like Wrecking Ball stuff. But then again, you can play Wrecking Ball stuff literally everywhere. So not quite sure how much of an astute observation that really is. Obviously, in WCS, there's been lots of Zarya Reaper. Still absolutely a possibility, and one I have to expect. See Ram, Reaper, Bap, and of course the Sim Lucio. So pretty standard, I suppose, in the Brawl mirror. Ram a little bit weaker now than maybe has been in the past, but just such a popular hero we're going to continue seeing. Stain, curious to see if they stick on the Sim or not. Very effective here when you can get that beam ramped up, but does end up being a bit of a vulnerability as well with how squishy she is. So watch out for Stain. If he can find value, then it's going to be a big difference maker to the enemy team. If not, then it's going to be superior poke phase for T4T.
Oh, big teleport coming through from, of course, that's the Metro, now going over to the Tracer instead. For the side of Brigged Up, T4T rotating over to the objective proper, so giving this high ground away to the opposition. But now Rose starting to walk in a little bit here on her own merit, throwing in that vortex, throwing in the shield up. But then this is from being procced here by Hamblsaus, and now the pressure is on both lambs, having been committed from the Baptiste from the back line, but we are going to see Brigged Up start rotating backwards to the objective. Rose herself now jumps down in Nemesis form, putting pressure onto that front line. We seek the Reaper out, but no one has gone down quite yet. We've gone for an overtime type of fight here, and again, no heads, no bodies to be seen. Great sustainability from both of these teams.
I mean, the backlines are just sitting back in safe positions and, full pocketing their tank, and they slug each other out. Fallen, an opening kill, though, from the Cassidy, finally getting some advantage in the poke that we spoke about earlier. And maybe that's enough advantage for T4T to find this victory.
It might be, but Fallen already using the Dead Eye, actually proccing it as long as we, as fast as possible alongside that window from Bluey. Losing the Baptiste in that fight, whatever, you win the fight anyway. T4T have now finally gotten something on the board here, but we're going to go into this next fight with Ultimates Online.
Yeah, more than a couple. That amplification matrix of Horseboy is going to be a big one. Obviously, Bluey already expending it and dropping incredibly low in the pre-fight. This is great work from Stain.
Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Forces the recall as well, so you don't have your Baptiste, you don't have that healing output. Only relying on just your Lucio to get that healing done for you. Either way, the fight is going to be kind of intense, right? You're going to have to work with or against a Ramatra Annihilation. You're going to be working against a upcoming Sound Barrier. So back to us, of course. We did have a couple problems, but we can see how that was going to go. Lots of things going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting so far, definitely. I almost didn't expect you Stain find any value whatsoever. When you're playing into a brawl comp, it does end up feeling like either you're perma unmarked or you just evaporate. Trace is really good at 1v1s. It's one of the best heroes in the game at them. But when you're playing into a Cassidy who can shut you down so easily, it's super hard to take good ones.
Oh, and as I predicted, the Annihilation did come to fruition here from Hamble Sauce. Does force pretty much a complete reset in favor of Brigged Up, and with that being said, they also seem to have held on to 3, if not 3.5 upcoming ultimates, but T4T walking out with 3 of their own.
Indeed. Blossom and the choke is going to be pretty brutal. Tommy has to land this Sound Barrier, and Ajax here would be brutal. Most likely scenarios Brigged Up just convert the fight win. T4T take a fast one. Blossom in! So much damage, the lamp does nothing!
Yo, I took a sip of water, and I saw 3 kills from Shadowy popping off CGL, one of our CGL own. Again, a staff member, if you will. Just getting the kills needed, and so quickly as well, holding on to their ultimates either way.
Yeah, as efficient a fight win as you can realistically look for, but now you do have the issue that T4T have 4 check marks. You simply can't match them in the ult trade, and so the annihilation of Rose is going to be a huge threat. Brigged Up have to make sure they're not just out-ulted.
Yeah, they're gonna walk in with the Deadeye first from Fallen, making a lot of free space work for T4T. It gets cancelled early on. See, we do have Stay on the back line, but the reversal of Blossom does come through from Panarchism, and it's negated by Vincio's Sound Barrier. So unfortunately, not gonna get as much value as you're looking for, but the damage output is definitely still there for the Reaper. That's kind of just his whole deal as a character, is that high damage output. So you're seeing bodies fall on the floor, Vincio rolling away, skating to safety, and T4T have flipped, but we're at 99%. That's 1 fight away from completion.
Means Brigged Up can play somewhat for their ult economy. They've got enough time to charge into some of these check marks for the final time. Forcing the annihilation out of Rose has to be priority number 1. Window very early, just gonna waste some time more than anything else, and the point being tickled as well by Stain. This is a pretty weak ultimate usage from Bluey, I gotta say here.
It's a little bit. It was a good mixed base, but it was still, Stein was able to just kind of walk in either way. Now we see Hamble coming in through with the Nemesis form onto Fallen, who rolls away, not quite gonna find any sort of living, space against the Ramatra. But either way, it's a good trade-off at the same time for both teams. Now walking in, we had Annihilation in the back pocket. We're gonna proc it after the committal of the Lamb. Excuse me. Annihilation comes in traded for both Rose and Hamble Sauce, but Rose forced to hold block forever. Poor girl does not have any sort of support to help her in that fight. So that's a very quick, easy one. Fallen rolls in with a fruitless and helpless Deadeye, but at the same time, it is just poor old Reaper, poor old Panarchism, who is trying their best to stall.
Yeah, a couple cleanup frags going to occur here. Shadowy gets the majority of them. And in that final fight there, I think it is just having the slightly earlier annihilation from Humble Source that really gives Brigged Up the lead, right? I mean, Rose obviously had hers as available, but just pops it a second too late already. Too much value had been found by her opposition. Brigged Up able to take the first points here, and now just one objective away from going up, and maybe a bit of an upset lead here, 1-0. Remember, it's Brigged up the third seed, T4T the first. No compositional changes going to come through. I do feel like Shane is going to have a much easier time playing here. You can really hug the back half of the objective, right? Especially with Tracer, with that health pack perk, and just live indefinitely. Fallen can get plenty of damage done, right? But trying to force the 1v1 borderline impossible. So I think Brigged up in a great position to take Lijiang here.
Oh, 100%. They're gonna go straight up to that high ground area, looking down this nice long sight line to the opposition, who are opting to go around the rotation to the coastline, right? So they're already on the objective. T4T has a beautiful advantage here into the positioning, and they also call out Shadowy's attempt at a sneaky teleport to the back line. Panarchism is not laying that play in their face whatsoever. Now, forcing everyone else to back away from the objective, now giving it over to T4T in a relatively unscathed engagement.
I think Brigged up there made a couple of mistakes. One of them was going first. When your Tracer's still running back, you can't fight. You're at 4v5 for a second, even though your team is forward. And Fallen with these late kills as well. Humble Source, I don't imagine they can get out either. And so you get these great stagger kills. T4T really putting their right foot forward here on the second time of calling.
I love it. I love the aggressiveness. I love that they're not playing passive. Like, they had kind of done so in the latter half of round 1, right? So they want to stay in these nice in this nice courtyard. You can see the in the back line, the Tracer walking, trying to go to the coastline and trying to catch somebody off guard. Now coming to the main area. Hamilton somehow, someway already has Annihilation on the back pocket. Rose only 20% away for her very own. So you can start walking in, absolutely walk in with that Vortex, put them all to the ground. Deadeye committed by Fallen, but it's all for naught. The spam is too much for the Cassie to handle. Now we're looking for the Reaper, who is raising away in the air. The lamp also expended, and honestly, no need for the Annihilation, no need for any sort of resources besides just pure fundamentals and mechanics to destroy everybody on T4T.
Yeah, I mean, you do end up getting the window out from Horseboy, so it wasn't purely free, but you're not mad about it by any means whatsoever, right? Especially since you traded it for the Deadeye, which is so impactful in these setups. Brigged up now, choke control, looking to punish the rotation, see how they do it.
Should be able to do a good one. The window does get committed here. The Deadeye also from Shadowy to make some safe space happen. But we see the post bomb, and we see Hamilton's go down. Rose traded off for the other Ramatra. So this is just an easy cleanup fight here for Brigged up. Very great reversal with the Deadeye coming in from Shadowy. What a beautiful way to turn that fight around. Whoa, you're crazy. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, that late kill is pretty nuts, right? I mean, 35%, the point you're at, it means you're going to get at least the lead before the flip comes through again, and you'll have another chance at the fight. That being said, the fact you spent so heavily because Humble Source basically just sat behind the amplification matrix does mean T4T, very significant economy advantage. Their goal is going to be winning this one cheaply.
It sure is. They have just the sound barrier, which does not get procced in time from Vincio, giving Panarchism a very free double kill on the back line. But we still have Baptiste for one side that is Bluey, so at least there's some survivability for T4T, meaning that's why you're seeing Brigged up retreat to safety.
They do still keep their forwards positioning for Humble Source, but he's going to need a BAP swing in a second. The B engage.
And the reversal from Tommy as well. Okay. Bluey going down. Both lamps have been expended. But we gotta get some sort of trade-off for T4T. They're gonna find it a little bit with Shadowy, but Hamosauce is a force to be reckoned with on this Ramatra. Now it's just Rose all by herself, and will in fact get a little bit stalling. Gonna get 84% almost on the point here for T4T.
Yeah, I mean, the B engage there, not always an effective strategy in 2025, but really getting it done there, allowing your entire team to get in, forcing the beat of Tommy. And when both expired, it's Brigged up who are winning these death matches. It feels like more often than not, so well played from them. Getting closer and closer to one fight territory now. DPS ults, Annihilation on the horizon. Brigged up, gotta be feeling confident now.
They have to look at this rotation, look at this window, beautiful placement, beautiful pressure onto Rhodes, and that's going to be the end of the Ramatra player. The Deadeye just to reload, just to get Tommy out of the way, getting Fallen at the same time, and Shadowy, you are a menace on this character.
Love the close range Deadeye, but I think that might have sealed the deal here. A touch maybe attempted by the Reaper. Panicism will able to get that. Overtime will be started, but how much more is there in the tank for T4T?
Well, we're gonna see Rose walk in with the annihilation at the very least, so the space is being made. We get the boot, but not quite the elimination. The environmental does not come to fruition. Fallen on the Tracer now finds the back line of the Baptiste. Shadowy follows right after the fact. We get rid of Panarchism, but we're just sitting there holding block the annihilation. Pulse bomb goes wide, and Bluey is just stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Cannot get away from the aerial effect of that pulse bomb on the floor. But the flip is there for T4T.
That it is. One fight territory for both sides now. Stains already low HP, losing out that Tracer 1v1, but being in support LOS means that you can do whatever the hell you want, forcing out your opponent. Name of the game, and you've got great chase, but losing it doesn't matter. Shadowy on the Venture gets you into a 4v5.
Oh, for a second, I thought falling deep with some ankles there, right? I was like, whoa, you broke ankles, but no, great follow from the Venture. Horseboy getting those eliminations onto Tommy as well. Rose going down at the same time. Louis goes for the Kiriko, go for a quick TP back to touch, but it's all for naught. Shadowy on this Venture, great reversal here, and a great flip for Brigged up.
I'm super impressed by Shadowy, actually. He's done really well on 3 different heroes now. And that's all Brigged up need him to do. A power in like 1-0 here. The 3rd seed upset the 1st. But there's still plenty of series left to play.
Oh, they're short. There absolutely is. It is just a... It was so close. Like, 2 rounds, great, but they were so close. Even here, it wasn't all that bad. The momentum just really went in favor of Brigged up in the latter half, right? But otherwise, T4T really brought it back on Night Market up until pretty much 99 to 99 overtime fight. Unfortunately, they were forced into a stagger fight situation. They're kind of just walking back in on Tracer, on Kiriko, on with Ramatra, and it at that point, you gotta go next, you know.
Yeah, no, it's hard to disagree. I think T4T aren't used to what Brigged up are playing, and they are, I think, somewhat struggling to adapt, I think is the big thing here. They don't really seem to have a great understanding of how to deal with these flex DPS when they are set up. They're really looking to take the frontline trade. And when they're allowed to frontline trade, right, they are finding value. So great job from Brigged up for basically surviving long enough for their Tracer, for their Reaper to just sit on somebody and ruin their day. From T4T, then thinking about the next map, straight up just ban Tracer, get out of the way. So let's stop any
100%.
double flex stuff from from happening whatsoever. And then you can think about something where you can keep on playing this style of play with the Ram, with the Lucio, with the Bap, because it looks pretty comfortable for you. So Shambali Monastery, for example, King's Row, anything like that in the pool, that's probably what I would be thinking about.
Oh, 100%. Take that Tracer out of the way. Even there's like so many characters that I feel like are very valid bans, very solid bans you could go for, right? And it's like, now you have Genji back online, now you also have Queen back online for Rose, right? So Rose is gonna probably have a good time, right? Especially if you want to go to a flashpoint for map 2, which is a very popular option for a lot of our teams if they want to get the reversal back, if they want to get their momentum back up and running as well. And what better way to do that than going Servasa, going New Junk City, going Atlas, and just running it down on Junker Queen, which is, of course, your bread and butter. So, that being said, could go anywhere. We have a plethora of options in the map pool. I believe I mentioned King's Row earlier, but that's just, you know, King's Row is King's Row.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But do we want to play dive? Do we want to keep playing Brawl? Do we want to mitigate something that's making it so much more difficult for T4T to, you know, go toe-to-toe with Brigged up?
Yeah, I think if it does come specifically to the Queen, if you do want to play that, then she does struggle with being bullied, right? Fantastic hero, you win your ult cycles, but in a lot of your neutrals, if your opponents just kind of look at you and run at you fast, you're going to really struggle. So you maybe, instead of thinking about the Tracer even, you're more likely to go towards like a Mei or a Reaper just because you're so weak to these kind of anti-tank heroes. You're definitely in a really interesting spot, though, in how you're going to take things next. Because as well, like I said, Queen's not fantastic right now, so we haven't seen a lot of setups with her. I've seen Lucio Wu Yang, and it works okay. You don't need that much healing relative to other tanks because you've got your bleeds, right? But then again, you have no healing. You take a lot of damage, and the Queen has to play super, super soft. So if your best player's on it, then you're not finding as much value as maybe they could to enable the backline. Lucio Kiri obviously played very heavily as well, but then you're not playing the new kind of strong hero. Numbani up next.
Oh.
There's no good Queen, no Ram here. Dive tanks basically guaranteed, but a curveball for sure from T4T. Yeah, this is really interesting.
No, right? I never see Numbani actually get willingly played ever. Even in comp games, no one wants to play Numbani. You know, so to see us completely shift gears, we're getting away from the Brawl, we're getting away from the Ramattra, we're getting away from some Reaper, maybe getting away from the Bap Lucio to an extent. You might see more of that Kira Lucio. You might see more on a Brig. Coming in with the Winston, you also see Orisa to an extent. I think Orisa does pretty okay on Numbani. Relatively easy to get out to high ground now with post map changes back like 2-3 seasons ago. Maybe even longer. Whoa. But Numbani, again, I think this really does kind of set a different pace, a different storyline that T4T are looking to, showcase to us.
Indeed. Apparently, we got ready for our bans. So let's see exactly how these are going to be set up. Obviously, we're going to be looking at like Ana, Brig, Winston, Tracer as the kind of general bans that occur around here. Obviously, we saw Genji out already. That one, no one got in the cards for T4T. One has to imagine that you just ban Tracer. Unless there's one dive tank that really isn't your jam, like a Diva, for example.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, hard to say more than that.
No problem. Like, I do think it's just kind of just like Numbani is Numbani. It's something that you don't really mess with too much. It's dive, things can like to go fast, and why not take care of Lucio in that same sense? Lucio can definitely be played here, but I think this kind of does lock in more of a, more stable backline of the Ana Brigida, maybe even Bat Brig. Why not? I mean, make things up, talk about it, but Kiriko could also be played here. We mentioned Wu Yang as well. I think also very valid backline to play alongside the Kiriko, especially on Numbani. Kind of want to see how that composition will work on a map like that with a new character. Brigged up now, looking at tank or DPS role, and either one honestly is a completely open choice.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Brigged up, Tracer ban is very interesting. Wow, I mean, we're getting so much value from the Tracer, right? But I'm assuming this is so you can force like Genji, Echo. Obviously, that Genji was banned out map 1. And so if you're so scared of the flex DPS that after banning their hero, then they still do that, then one has to imagine what they can do maybe off of it. So that's what I'm assuming. The Lucio ban for T4T, by the way, is quite interesting as well. Not a lot of teams play Lucio here because he really struggles to access the high ground. So T4T, I guess, have some scouts that Brigged up will try and force brawl stuff here anyway, maybe with a sim, for example. So Ana Brig, one has to assume, is going to be pretty viable here, as to will the various BAP setups. The Lucio ban, though, I do feel is a little bit weaker, so I think Brigged up have won this draft phase.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I love the Tracer ban. I think this is probably the strongest thing you could have done for for Brigged up, right? So that being said, I'm still reeling about Numbani being even chosen. It's just like, hello. I just want to see what happens here, because again, even in their favorite heroes and their favorite roles to play, there's not really much dive besides both of the backliners actually loving to play Ana. That's really the only thing that is similar between two of these between both these teams. That being said, though, Lucio, interesting ban. I like it. Tracer, I think, is probably the most impactful ban we're probably gonna see in this series so far. But yeah, I mean, we have not too much to say. I kind of want to see some action. So my players, I want to see us cook on this Numbani map. I want to see us cook with our dive comps.
I will say a Tracerless Numbani is a very interesting look. I mean, she does so much in terms of thrusting the backline, in terms of, moving the cart, especially on, points 1 and 2. So Genji, you don't have that kind of same consistent threat, but you do have some stronger dives when you hard commit with your shurikens, with your dash. So see exactly how this works out as we obviously get ready to head in. No substitutes. Both teams, I believe, running with the full 5 ult throughout today, though don't quote me on that.
So far, we're gonna go to a very quick real quick, because there's apparently a tech issue happening. I can't even say any production. This is EU, isn't it? Oh,
well, the production is NA. The players are EU. Repeat that for the stream, please, producer. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Nah. Could never be my producer. EU OBS, EU teams, EU co-caster, EU stream.
That's
EU stream. There's a majority rules here. There's at least 15 people. There's endless 15 people.
What do you want
in
anything to
EU.
do about it, boss? I'm just chilling, like.
Nope.
Yeah.
My chunk is EU teams. My chunk is EU team. My chunk is
You're
EU
hiding it
production.
first.
Yep.
I got no idea
I'm
what's
a
going
hater.
on. I can neither defend nor attack.
No, I mean, I actually don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's us thing. I don't know if it's,
We're
if
both
it's the
just chatting
teams.
laps.
We're just like, it's your fault.
We've someone to blame.
Oh, we have someone to blame.
Yeah, let's go. Good
So
day
is
to be
NA or
Loki
EU? Oh.
phobic.
Chill on Lottie. Chill on go. Wait, chill on go. Might have a little
Anyway.
technical issues, but we're gonna chill on go. But yeah, anyway.
Everyone excited for Stockholm, obviously, in a little bit. Obviously, we've got
Yes.
playoffs. We got final players for NA, EU tomorrow. We got Asia playoffs as well tomorrow morning. There's a lot of Overwatch happening right now, just out even in the main circuit. And of course, CGL still going to be streaming every single day. It's a good time to be an Overwatch fan. Unfortunately for me, I'm really busy with my dissertation, and so I make the only choice one can, and I choose to fail my dissertation.
Wait, you're gonna fit? No, don't fail
There's
it.
games to watch. There's grind.
No,
There's grind to do.
no. Put it on
Listen.
the background. Make it about Overwatch. I had a friend. Oh my god. For his final essay was about goats and how
Was
it like
it?
ruined Overwatch. Yeah, it was. He sent me the link to it. It was like a full like 3,000, 4,000 word essay about goats and why it like low key ruined Overwatch. Back when before
Back in the days. Yeah.
before I was gonna. So, and I was like, wait, was it really? I didn't understand the impact of goats at that time, right? So I was like, wait, this like one character ruined. He was like, yes, and I read the whole thing, and I was like, oh, I understand now. But he made his whole final essay just why Overwatch got ruined by one character and one meta, and
Yeah.
you can really do whatever you want with. You can do whatever you want, and like, well, I didn't do a college. I went to art school.
The closest I could have come to Overwatch would be like designing like a peripheral of some type, like a mouse or a keyboard, because obviously I do engineering, and it's hard to engineer Overwatch. So heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
I know though. Lossie did her dissertation on sustainability in esports. That was very interesting.
That's
actually.
a
So
good one.
Yeah.
Shout out to my observer
Very
is
well
crashing right
researched.
now.
Happens.
It happens. That's a really cool concept because like I don't know, esports in general very much started with grassroots. It still is very much grassroots until like the top level, right? But either way, dissertation aside and all that jazz, we're gonna go to a very quick break, get some tech issues figured out, and we're gonna go into this map 2 after the fact. So we'll see you guys on the other side of this.
Carpe diem.
And we're back. Issues have been fixed. We're back in our lobbies. We have our map 2 ready to go. We have Dive coming on, probably. We have a match for you guys today. 1st to 3 already, first game in favor of Brigged Up. But T4T are taking a swing for the fences, changing up the whole dynamic to now play something a lot more divey. You're seeing Diva, you're seeing Hazard already from our teams. I'm liking the flexibility, I guess, from both of our rosters.
Brigged Up playing pretty heavily for poke cons. You're going to really struggle to dive anything with your Sombra Diva. You can, however, shoot basically forever, and if anybody jumps on you, they're going to have a pretty rough time of things. Shadowy going to be your main kill power with those bolts, obviously, but you can also get somebody else involved, and they're sticking on this. Good lord. Double flex, Torbjorn has. Rose is going to have the worst time of her life, one has to expect. But in exchange, you can take a superior brawl against the Diva if you're given the opportunity to.
One must imagine Rose happy, is what you must do, right? On this Hazard, especially into a Sombra, into a Freya. And Rose going up to his high ground, trying to bully these guys, or bully Brigged Up away from this high ground, which is so powerful on Numbani. However, we have the Sombra in the back line. The Virus connects onto Rose all the way from Narnia, rendering Rose relatively, useless in this fight a little bit. Has to stabilize, does get hacked, but the turret, the unsung hero of T4T, has taken down Shadowy early away from the Freya, giving us a 5v4 series, or say at least match heads up. The nade! Oh, Horseboy, I was not aware of your game, bestie.
Yeah, fantastic throw there, but Panicism still cleaning up the backline. It seems like Horseboy and Vincio both go down. Humble Source, no supports yet. Still has to find a way to live, and with Little Matrix, that becomes exceedingly difficult. At least you do have Shadowy back in the fight, but it seems like you're going to go for, at the very least, a retake here. But I gotta say, simply because we don't mark the middle lane, it allows the Torbjorn to go for a swing and get that opening pick.
Oh, nice bullying the Sombra away from the point as well, but it's enough stall to have Hambo Sauce come back on that Diva to try and attempt to save this point, to save the objective, but it's not gonna work. Tommy takes down the baby Diva form of Hambo Sauce, and we're trying to find this Sombra lacking the coastline, and Rose does so.
Indeed. At the end of the day, 5-minute time back. You are not too mad about that at all. But there is still the small issue of your opponents having, in my opinion, at least superior ultimates. AMP combined with a boulder shot could be the fight win straight off the back without anybody else even having to touch their keyboard. So T4T have to make sure they're going first to avoid that eventuality.
Absolutely, and you can really see T4T are, again, reinstating this high ground in their favor, at least trying to, pushing Shadowy a little bit away, not really getting those nice sight lines that Freya wants to utilize and abuse here, but Bullet Shot is active either way, so at any moment, Shadowy can absolutely use his ultimate, especially as we are kind of teetering the beginning of this fight, slowly but surely. Bullet Shot does get procced early, the Virus comes in, but a well-timed Suzu from Blue, he does kind of save the fight, actually. The downpour also forcing the Diva Bomb to be used selfishly, and Rose, oh, the wall came out, the play was there, but you kind of got suctioned into the opening area of that Diva Bomb.
I thought they were going to open with the EMP, but they ended up using everything but, essentially, and it does find the stop momentary, but with Sane going down, the car is going to continue rolling. You should have enough time for a recontest, but it's going to be very, very labored, and you're going to need to get Vincio involved with this rally, a position they don't really want to play from.
I don't think they're going to be able to go for, they are going to go for a touch, excuse me. Hembelos comes in with the touch, comes in with the Dragon Blade as well from at least Panarchism, and the Molten Core is a response as well, but it's a lot of trades, red and blue, no supports on the side of T4T though, and another D-Mech, no bomb to at least get a quick second lease on life, so there's just Baby Diva trying to inevitably stall this objective, and again, gonna be shut down by Fallen, not only getting the turret kill, but also the hammer kill on the Sombra.
Yeah. See if T4T have a list of hammer kills Fallen's able to get. That'd be not so bad. And they decide to take something closer to a mirror, or with the Hazard staying on the Pharah, very strong into the Torbjorn though. So Poke going to be a heavy advantage for Brigged Up. Time bank though, not so much.
Man, I like the Pharah here. The pressure is it's gonna be really good just to kind of put that spam pressure onto the sight line of third point Numbani. But we did force a couple of swaps. We are forcing these guys to work with no ultimates on both sides here. Very close to Dragon Blade, at least from Shadowy, and it's a very much a Hazard versus Hazard duel here. Very much overly relying on the support to keep each of these Hazards alive. Suzu's expended from both of the Kirikos. Stein is trying to find some sort of value with the Pharah. Does find it by helping Handball Sauce get those kills on not only the Torbjorn but also onto Rose, forcing T4T to respect the space and back up. They have a really fat time bank to work with here.
That they do. It's a lot of defending that Brigged Up are going to need to do. Thankfully, you do have a Nano Blade for the first. You can rotate in a Kitsune Rush for the second, but after that, then what? Then you're kind of skint for a little bit, and the threat of the downpour is always present, right? If Stain, for example, is in the LOS, there's nothing that they can do. Blade in.
Can we get Blade out? We sure do! Fallen going down easily. The Kiriko Rush from Vincio also layered. Almost, I would almost argue that as a overcommittal of the support ultimates. Now, no Nano or Kiriko Rushes online for Brigged Up in this next engagement. And T4T has 80% to a Nano themselves.
They do. That means, I mean, if using the Kitsune Rush, I have to say, is a pretty large mistake, it feels like. There's no point trying to turn a Nano Blade fight. Either you've got beat and you can fight for it, or you don't and you just kind of take the L. I think that really hurts your economy going forward, but you also have a pretty healthy one generally. So T4T, I think, not too mad about it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The Barrage also is online as well for Stein, which is just, I think, ideally should be good, especially in combination with this Downpour. But finds just the kill on the turret, a poor inanimate object, but the Barrage gets followed up on, and the Downpour finds no bodies, no soul, no nothing. Rose is swinging for the fences as much as she possibly can, and she does find Shadowy in the engagement, but the stall does come through, and regardless from Handball or across the side of that wall, giving again this fight so much sustain, so much longevity in favor of Brigged Up.
Indeed. And so a hold again will come through, but this time going to be T4T's best shot. Nano Blade available. Nothing to counter it for Brigged Up. As long as Panicism can get 2 kills here, it's going to be, at the very least, getting it right before the end of the map for T4T. See how they do.
Oh, well, I'm seeing a Blade, the nade also going wide onto Panarchism, but no follow-up onto the Genji, so it's going to be a very quick fight win here for T4T, and they have the rush to boot.
The touch comes through. Shane does not last long.
Wow.
Is there a second touch? Is there anybody coming from the wave? It does not seem so. Minute 10 on the bank. Opfun and Barney, that is not bad at all. Especially considering how long they got held for. I think T4T will be happy with that. Brigged Up a strong enough defense, but still a hard task ahead of them.
Oh yeah, I mean, they started off with about 3.5 minutes, almost 4 minutes on that third point anyway, so a minute and 10 is fantastic, especially being over that minute marker. As you and I know, that is a big advantage, even if Brigged Up get all the way to last point. If you can get them over time, it's even better for T4T's chances of winning the map out. Ideally, you can also just hold them, call it a day. Hold them all the way up for a second point and call it, and go next into map 3. But we did see some swaps, some pressure be put onto Brigged Up. We were off the D.Va, we were onto the Hazard again, then we also got off to go over to the Pharah, right? So they got pressured out. There was some layering from T4T to force these guys onto some more uncomfortable characters in that match. I think also gave T4T a big advantage going through second point into third.
Yeah, I think the Pharah was a really strong choice. I mean, they absolutely should have went towards before. The Mercy for it, though, Fincher ends up rolling out of it, I think is maybe less good. I do like the Bull, though. Bull is super effective. That while the map geometry isn't fantastic for him, the hero is just so strong. Playing, really extended, long fights, you're going to find some amount of value. Probably would have preferred Vincio on an Ana instead. I think the cooldown's still super effective into Hazard, but Mercy in this comp works, playing super hard for basically Stain just hitting a rocket, knock off the high ground, anything that allows your team comp to collapse, but until then, you're just waiting for something to happen.
Oh, and you can't even repeat that area. You can see Tommy kind of going in and out, being bombarded by these damage-boosted rockets, right? But now here comes the subsequent dive onto the backline Tommy somehow, some way, staying alive in the engagement, actually finding a kill onto Shadowy, of all people. I think might be a little bit too late to that dive engagement, so now to 4v5 against Brigged Up. They can't really engage here fully, but they're gonna try to anyway.
Indeed. Honestly, it was a really good dive setup there. Shadowy, I think, just stayed in too long chasing for the kill after Handful Source was already disengaged. And Stein late killed as well. Walled off. Great use of it. Oh, Jagged Wall and Vincio almost has a very rough time. Still be chased down by the Hazard and eventually dispatched. So, Brigged Up. Gonna have a long while in between fights here. It has to be said, but Akiri Diff suddenly makes this winnable.
Oh, and that's just the power of a Sombra. You can see Rose had all of her HP, was good to stay in the engagement, and then suddenly Virus into Hack into 3 people looking at the Hazard. Yeah, she's out of the pound. Stein in the back side of things did get a kill alongside that limit shot to Rose. So there's a big opening here for Brigged Up, getting the first tick already. Now spamming this nice sight line, and you're also scouting to see when they're going to re-engage here, make sure that it's not going to happen. Good scout actually coming in from the Freya, and the Barrage, again, mitigating a effective touch from T4T. This is going to have to be a fight win here for Brigged Up 100%.
Yeah, just the Genji to dispatch. And one has to imagine that, yeah, Shadowy will be able to clean things up. Huge barrage. You're close on the MP. T4T in a pretty strong position. Slightly worse time bank, of course, by about 30 seconds. But I don't imagine they're mad about it whatsoever. All they can do now, thanks for the future, and hope they can set this Shadowy EMP for greatness.
Not even just the EMP, but also the minefield, right? Those two are going to be great at just kind of forcing away space from the back line, from the front line, separating the team a little bit for T4T. I can't wait, because we're already going through the first quarter of second point of Numbani, and look at this sideline. You can just ram right into that small little enclosed space that a lot of teams love to play in. But Shadowy, you know what, you're right. Wait, my Mercy might get the res off, and she does. Oh yeah, Vincino, you're him.
Absolutely take that.
Was that?
Oh, I just hate Mercy. Big EMP, connects onto 3, and they're all wiped out. And it turns out that's the value of the Mercy. I know I said I hated it before, but I mean, you res the Sombra after she got pre-fighted and she wins the fight for you. So you really can't hate late kill as well onto Bluey. There's nobody who can recontest the second point, and it's going to be an even better time bank heading into the final stage of the map. Brigged Up probably felt themselves with a bit of a bloody nose after that first point, but they've returned with a haymaker.
Oh, we dash in as well for Panarchism. Also, Rose is there to help supplement that engagement. 30 HP though. Panarchism cannot even proc the the Blade in time. City Rush does get used in response to the Rally though, and Rally does, kind of get eaten up by this Pharah. Again, a strat of Far Mercy, strat of all strats that has been so used for so long. But Rose gets a nano boost to her. And honestly, with Panarchism also walking back in with the Blade, it doesn't really find much besides Shadowy's elimination, and Hamdol Sauce, the one to stay alive with the Kiriko to boot. Are you serious?
The Blade Jacks at the end? I mean, it was a bold recontest for T4T. They spent super heavily for it, which did force Brigged Up to respond with tools of their own. For example, that Stein Barrage. At the end of the day, though, they don't actually end up getting anything, which means they spent their entire ult economy, and now they're playing into a minefield and have a 4-minute time bank to face down. So, not quite sure that was worth, especially as Rose has taken this much damage pre-fight.
And has to disengage so much, and there's just constant angles on the Hazard. Fallen on Cassie again, and I mean, there goes Shadowy, and we are rolling away because Fallen is taking off heads. A complete comp switch here. The Cassie and the Reaper making an appearance. The Ana as well from Bluey, and now Brigged Up. They're gonna back up. They have minefields. They have things to work with.
Oh, so many people have been pre-fighted. It's gonna be Fallen who falls to it this time. Brigged Up still with that minefield. Have a great chance to maybe even close out the map here.
Might be able to. Misses the Virus onto the Rose, who is now backing up with the wall kind of in the back pocket. 95% to the EMP. We're setting up for it. At the very least, so close to completion. But Panarchism on that Reaper is just going to take care of Shadowy easily. The Barrage mitigates that Reaper 100%. And I mean, this far has been a problem since it was chosen.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like Shadowy and Stein take turns and to be the ones finding value. And after Stein finds all of that, it's Shadowy with a double kill and still an EMP2 popped. Very real chance they've got an even better time bank here. T4T have to scramble for success.
2 minutes and 40 seconds clock. Stein is playing very high up in this area. The EMP, the fight maker once more. takes care of a very low Rose. We get the hack onto the Deadeye, so it means Fallen is not going to get any sort of kills with that Deadeye, any sort of space being made. Either the pummel, the pile driver takes care of Fallen, and now all we have is a Nano Brigged, which does find at least one. And can we stall enough? We sure will. Downpour comes in, whiffs on the Wrecking Ball of all people. The Res comes in the back line, though, and Shadowy's back as if they had never been gone. And at this point, it is just a stagger fight once again. Something that T4T struggles to not put themselves in that kind of situation.
Mines
and at
out.
this point, that is the end spec. Mines are out. Rose is all by herself.
Yeah, she is not long for this world. Finally, cart will roll through. At the end of the day, it's not a larger time like it could have been. It's still 40 seconds up on your opposition. That's going to give you time for an additional fight, and that is a very real lead as we are looking at these overtime rounds. Brigged up. Great comeback here. Feels like they're doing a fantastic job playing around, especially their ultimates. Stein is doing a fantastic job in the neutral. I do think Shadowy is dying probably more than we'd like to see. So if there's anything to work on, it's making sure Shadowy doesn't just get picked by a Reaper. Because as we saw, seconds to last fight, just uncloaking in front of the shotgun hero, it's a rough time. So as long as Shadowy can conserve their life a smidgen, then I think it will be T4T who are going to be down 2-0. However, if they can, exploit this Sombra consistently, especially as she can be a little bit harder on the defense, in my opinion, then we could still be heading into what could be the halfway point of this series 1-1.
Oh, for sure. I think this could become a 1-on-1 situation. Fallen's still kind of deciding where we want to go, where the value will come from. Will it be a Tracer? Will it be the... Oh, whoa. She's banned. Will it be the Cassidy? Will it be something? The Freya again? I forgot my girl was banned, bro. I
Sometimes, I think the worst I had was I gave a whole 2-minute color point about going to map 5. They forced it onto a specific map type, and it just wasn't how it worked. It reset the map pool after 4.
Oh, that...
So mad.
I've been there. Oh, I've been there. Oh, either way, we have Cassidy being chosen by Fallen, and Penarchism is not going to go for the sneaky flank on the low ground. Actually gets completely caught up by Handball on this D.Va once again. I don't have anything to say. They only have 45 seconds left.
I mean, they just exploded those two. Great combo of between the DPS and the tank. It's Shadowy with the hack onto the Genji. Stein with a damage-boosted rocket slamming into Fallen. And suddenly 30 seconds left to go. You're far off every ultimate. You're low on time. You need a miracle. You need one now.
You do. It is getting so... It's getting a little bit too hazy for T4T here. They're on the point at the very least, right? That's great and all. However, we are losing Rose. You're losing your front line. You're losing your tank. You're losing the person that can mitigate all the pressure from this D.Va as she had done once before. Not going to be able to in the forces of Handball Sauce, who is just a menace on this D.Va over and over and over again. And just like that, he gets basically the entire team away from that point, giving us a 0% progression for T4T.
2 minutes for a tick is not bad at all, considering it's enough time to bank your ultimates. We'll say fantastic combo there between Stein and Handball Sauce. Yeah, I mean, both of them combined just absolutely took both of those fights from T4T apart. And now they have the opportunity to try and finish it here. I do think, though, still, attacking and unbarring is hard. It is really awkward. So, it's by no means all over here for T4T, but, also all they can play for here is a draw. So, see if that affects their mental. Because it can cause an underperformance. It can cause a map loss.
It absolutely... even though they did, the cute little map, adjustments and making things, a little bit more accessible, I would say, for not just solely dive. It is still, you're right, it's so difficult to attack on Numbani and find the right angles without constantly being hounded on from multiple high grounds, multiple sight lines as well from the opposition. T4T, now Rose, feeling the pressure a little bit. She goes over to her own D.Va. We have Tommy and Bluey on that double flex support backline versus the Kiriko and the Mercy from Horseboy and Vincio, which got insane amount of value that I don't think either of us are really expecting the first round, so T4T has to be expecting this Farm Mercy to make a reappearance.
I mean, it's just been so effective. You do have some level of flack, right, with your double hit scan with your D.Va, but equally, if a single rocket connects onto, say, the Freya, then they are non-factor for the rest of the fight. And so though you are technically countering, I'm not sure how effective it's going to be. And it also means that, for example, Shadowy Handball Swords, they get so much more value here, almost for free.
They really do. That's just the problem with the Sombra. The Handful Sauce has been, again, a very good displacer, a really good distraction for T4T. Fallen already going less than a quarter of the HP pool there. Has to get healed up, but the hack comes in. The Suzu mitigates Bluey's chances of dying early, so thankfully we stay alive, and Shadowy off the map! Shadowy, that's my CGL staff.
Oh, I mean, I've done it before. It doesn't look any better on stream. It's pretty peak. Full knocks to low ground will be able to be extricated. And we are now down half the time bank. It is worth mentioning, T4T so far, their defense has held strong.
Ooh, and they forced out Suzu really early. Whoa, the scout onto the summer was actually fantastic. Fallen was not playing with the mechanics there. What a flick. But we do lose Blue in the meantime. There also is the ball here, which forces out the nade from the Ana and the Deadeye from Fallen.
Indeed. Now we're looking at that 20-second mark once again. Brigged up, making the change over to the Genji into the double hit scan. It's probably a judicious choice. You've got at least the Valkyrie to play with, so team-wide damage boost for a while, but you're gonna have to bank entirely on that as it's the only thing you've got.
Oh, and they're all grouped up, giving Sign a very clean and easy elimination process from Fallen to Bluey to Panarchism. It's just the D.Va with the Nano on top of her, but Rose does not have the D.Va bomb. So with that being said, the continued rush, yeah, for funsies, there's gonna be one tick. It's all we need for Brigged Up to get the 2-0 in the series.
It's even more labored than Control was, forcing us to extra innings. The end of the day, though, what the hell is this bug?
It's...
We've seen that one before. But either way, Brigged Up now up 2-0. They're going to be loving life right now. They're a single map away from upsetting the #1 seed. And here we go. Genji into double flex, into double hit scan double flex, in fact. You kind of just eat them up. If you don't get flash, there's nothing they can really do. And so, able to find the cleanup there with the Mercy pocket. Not exactly the way we expected it to go, but at the end of the day, it was the Genji that we saw banned at map 1 that was the difference maker here on map 2.
Oh, 100%. And you talked about how impactful Genji can be on map 1. We were talking about that ban earlier. He's been really popular, really high win rate as of late, especially going into a new season or, new patch, new season, all that jazz. And he's kind of a menace, and he does just get so much value. And I saw them all, I saw all happen in real time, and like in the future, they all clump together when the ball power drive. Now it's like, you're done. You're done. It's over, Betty. Goodbye. You might kill Shadowy, but there's a Genji dashing on top of your backline, on top of your front line, on top of Fallen, of all people, who was doing so well on that Cassidy to mitigate that Sombra and everything like that. But that is, of course, our map 2. As always, we're going to go to a very quick break between now and map 3. Give our teams a chance to get some water, relax after that very nail-biter overtime match on Numbani. So we'll see you guys on the other end of this break with our map 3 and possible final map of the series. And just like that, as promised, we are back with our map 3, the match point for Brigged up here, taking us over to an overtime fight for their lives on Numbani against T4T. Now, T4T on the ones in the back seat, on the hot seat. 0-2 so far, number 1 seed going into number 3 seed, I believe. And they are just, we gotta bring it back some way, somehow.
Yeah, reverse sweep going to be needed if they want to conserve their number 1 seed. And I gotta say, especially for teams who have plenty of success historically, they don't always fare the best in scenarios like this. They might not always have the mental built up to come back in a scenario like this. So let's best hope that New Junk City is where they can dig their heels in, because if not, they're going to find them 6 feet under. Obviously, this is purely for seeding, essentially, in playoffs. Both teams, I believe, already qualified, but you'd rather be the number 1 seed, right? It'd be really not different maps to the previous 2 that we've seen. I assume we'll be looking more at kind of Ram comps we started off with, but I couldn't say that with any certainty.
Listen, I remember Rose's favorite character to play is Queen. I don't know why I was saying New Queen Street. I was struggling with that word. Is playing Queen, right? So if I'm T4T, I'm going for a tank ban. I don't care who it is. I don't care what it is. It has to be a tank ban. And, okay, thank goodness. Oh my gosh, thank goodness it's a Vermatra ban. You can play Queen. You don't gotta do Vermatra. You have a protection ban on top of that, so you can actually play a comp that you're comfortable. I love this. Oh my goodness. This is exactly what I want from T4T. I have nothing to say. Brigged up. You got DPS and support. Where are you gonna ban here?
Yeah, curious to see exactly what you want to do next. I mean, the Ram ban makes sense. You don't want to play the full mirror. And, I mean, I don't know. What do you ban if you're Brigged up? I mean, it feels like the whole world is open to you. Timer gonna expire. Reaper.
Okay.
Interesting, actually. It seems like you're doing plenty good with your own with Shadowy on it, but I guess you want him on something else. Maybe Tracer, maybe Genji. I mean, all heroes that you're plenty proficient at, but not quite what I was expecting, especially considering how effective Reaper is versus, for example, the Queen. So, super interesting bans here. See if T4T have done enough to allow them to extend this series, or whether Brigged Up will take this series in a maybe unexpected 3-0.
It's gonna be a fun one either way, right? With the Reaper ban coming out, I do think Shadowy has very much proven his proficiency on Cassidy, on Sombra, on so many characters, Reaper as well, of course, to boot. But it's not even really gonna affect him way too much. I think it's just as a matter of precaution for that insane damage output that Reaper does kind of give way in a lot of these broad compositions. And I love it, because Queen, she can only shout so many times. She can only survive in a sustainability fight for so long as the lower sustained hero, right? She just wants to be fast and go as hard as she possibly can. That being said, with Vermatra being out of the fray, I'm kind of excited to actually see what Brigged Up do play in that Brawl v Brawl. Because again, they have to be expecting the Queen, and they have to be expecting Rose to pull out all the stops with her favorite character. Nope. Running down the wire, Mauga gonna be chosen by Hambo Sauce, and this has been a very popular character as of late, I would say.
Yeah, Mauga versus Queen mostly focuses around whether you can hit first or not. Queen wins the long fight, but if you don't survive the initial stomp, you just evaporate. So T4T have to save their shout for the stomp, otherwise they are going to be in a very rough state of being.
Oh, and Fallen, I mean, immediately called out by Stein on this venture, and that is just a, also, the reversal, both characters, both ventures on the field here, getting their first opening picks, that's fantastic, but one of them is going to be on the Brigitte, so giving a lot of pressure to Horseborg to keep up the team by themselves. That being said, shout, let's get used here, we now slam onto the Queen here, holding on to the Cardiac Overdrive, now proccing it, seeing how low Rose is and how little resources that she had. We're going to walk in with this fight win here for Brigged Up and push T4T back over to the spawn room.
Obviously, 5v4 initially given by T4T. Fallen just goes way too aggressive. Into Brig Venture, you can't be playing that proactively, unfortunately. And a numbers advantage that Brigged Up are able to snowball. Fallen already scouted as well. Really shut out this fight so far. They're going to have to lock in a little bit if T4T are to survive this.
Sure are. Shout engage does get used here from T4T. They're looking for someone in the back line, and they're trying to cut away fast enough. We only have one slide available to Shadowy, but you can see Rose is a little bit too far in there. She does get, in fact, mitigated and shut down by Handful Sauce. We do see a double kill in favor of the Malga, but in the meantime, there's 3 players on this field, and they're all looking at this character, looking at the tank from Brigged Up, shutting him down completely. Now it's just Porosthein, who does stall for 70-ish% and now needs to back out.
I haven't the foggiest idea how Panicism is able to double kill the backline, but because they do, then Brigged Up are in no position to fight. Even with their tank advantage, they end up falling, and so 70% makes it effectively one-fight territory, but a pulse on a Brig, for example, could just reset that and bring this game back to parity.
Ultim on the Brig, the shield saves the day though. Keeping Vincio in the fight alive a lot longer than expected. Fallen in the backline, being very, very weary about a turnaround rail shot from the Sojourn of Shadowy, who is 76% to the overclock. 54% of the point given to T4T. We lose Bluey. Shadowy gets traded off by Rose, and the Rampage does go wide. It gets Hambo Sauce purpled out, and there's no cage fight to save the day. Brigged Up got it back out.
Really curious why we triple turn for the Traitor there, who doesn't even end up going down when Hambo Sauce is hard committed on point. Not fantastic with a Malgacom that really wants to stick together here. Heading into 90% here, a touch is going to be needed. Stein going to be the one to manufacture it, and will be able to survive by use of that burrow.
Good sound barrier, response to the cage fight, and the rally on top of that from Vincio. I think just kind of getting out-pressured in the back with against that Tracer, so they're trying to use that rally to keep up themselves and Shadowy. Vincio can only survive for so long. The orbital ray and torpedo shot takes care of the foot support from the side of T4T. Panarchism trying to fight a brawl, trying to fight a fight to the Juno that they cannot actually stay alive against. Rose going down for count, and we're going to be also ripping the Tectonic Shock for good measure. Overtime ticks down and is getting bricked up with a first point. But 9-9 on Arena, that is something to definitely worth looking at.
Oh yeah, it's definitely some success from T4T. Unfortunately, not enough. Brigged Up, know for a fact they're behind in terms of the check marks. I mean, heading into the Kitsu, obviously Pulse available as well, but I think more importantly that Rampage being close to activating with Rose as well makes this next fight incredibly tricky. You have to give Shadowy these high ground angles. Pulse miss makes this easier, but still, you need to find a way to find this OC value.
It's gonna start off with it being proc because we're down our supports, right? Shadowy's trying to find something to even the playing field a tiny bit here, but no heads besides Tommy and Bluey will be peeking out for Hambo and Shadowy, but it's a little bit too late. Fallen finds 2 of their own. We look at Rid of Panarchism, but there is a Jungle Queen in my face, and I am back in the spawn room.
All you could realistically ask for from your Sojourn, realistically. 3 kills, some damage onto a 4th as well. I think that time Horseboy Vincio just a little bit poorly set up there. Way too easy for them to be scaled on as a Juno Brig. And so they do end up going down. I want to have to imagine T4T have these next fights in the bag as well because of their ult advantage. So Brigged Up need to find something of a lucky kill if they want to get anything happening here.
It's gonna have to work here, especially into this continued rush from T4T. We do get Shadowy out of the way. Carnage gets used. So is the Cardiac Overdrive coming in from Hambo Sauce. Shell also expended as a engagement tool, and it does at least find a kill on to stay. Panarchism really finding the trade-offs in the Venture 1v1, definitely up. Forcing the swap off over to the Genji from Shadowy. I love it. I like it a lot more, but we have a quarter of the point left for T4T to get the capture.
Indeed, and whilst the touch can come through, it's going to have to be somewhat labored. Hambo Sauce close to the cage, but if he pops it, that's one player less who can't make it towards the objective. 10 HP now dead! Not the start you're looking for at all.
No, it's not dead. Everyone's going down. Sty is just trying to find something to trade off, but it's not gonna come to fruition. Junkyard taken over by T4T. Now we go over to the Ducks in this 1-2-1 matchup.
Indeed. T4T able to hold through that Rampage. Most importantly, best case scenario for Brigged Up is that Vincio charges up that sound barrier in time. More likely Horseboy is going to attempt to cleanse what they can, but it's still going to be a huge tool. Cage invested early.
On the bridge as well, so enclosed, so tight, and there's nowhere else to
Ajax!
go. Rose is Ajax! Oh, the Rampage is massive! Oh, if I'm T4T, just walk it back to spawn. Reset here immediately.
Crazy, to be honest. A bold choice from Rose to try and rip it, but it probably would never have worked out. I mean, all that talk about how you have to cleanse what you can, maybe try to put sound barrier in time. Vincho's going to have it in time if they want. The only question now for the Lucio is whether you hold it for the Rampage or just pop it, get it on its own value. Stein hiding for the Tectonic Shock. See how it works out.
I love the rush engage here coming in from T4T, but from the back is gonna be the Tectonic Shock, and no one was privy to that venture being all the way back there, being as sneaky as they are. One down, the Kiriko, the one, not in the fight for T4T, makes it a lot harder. Fallen now kind of accidentally falls into the lap of the venture, and Sty is absolutely going to capitalize off of that. The blade committed from Shadowy, now 70% to completion of the Ducks.
T4T, I don't believe have a good touch at the very least. They're going to have to forge through the members of Brigged Up, who have decided to play a little bit more proactively in an attempt to jam the choke. Background tools are very nice for this type of play. It's up to the Zarya. Makes sense, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough.
Maybe a little bit too late. I mean, you can always,
No touches?
bring it back. Absolutely. Oh, no, Pinocchio's on the first one to go down, then it goes Tommy, and yeah, this is a good cleanup for Brigged Up. But you're right, we're off of the Queen, we're on Zarya. I think Horseboy, whoa. Horseboy going over to the Kiriko might have been kind of the kicker for Rose to swap off.
Kiri Lucio is just a really hard backline for Queen to play into, relatively speaking. You get booped a lot, your opponents can kite you easily, and obviously two good tools to mitigate your ultimate. And obviously that C9 does not help. T4T committed and got very little, just charging towards their opponent's ultimate. Kitsune in.
Will it be enough though? We pop up. We're disengaging. We find the Venture trying to go for a flank here. Venture backs out. Fallen gets a rail shot onto Shadowy either way in the engagement, giving us a 5v4 advantage state for T4T, but the point will flip for Brigged Up first. That's important here, especially as we're now nearing the end of New Junk City. Suzu comes in, saves the Malga for a second, but does kind of leave the Kiriko all by themselves against the forces of the high charge Rose here. I mean, with that being said, the quarter of the point in favor of Brigged Up does get flipped early on by T4T.
Yep, that it does. Shane, I'm not sure what you're trying to accomplish here, mate, but seems like they can back out relatively safely. Brigged Up do have a pretty brutal combination here, though. I mean, as long as you force a bubble or two out of Rose, a cage into the Tectonic Shock will buy you a fight win, will buy you the flip. Shane does have to live for that to be the case, though.
Okay, shying away to get the Mega Pack in time. Beautiful. But the Graviton Surge versus the Sound Barrier, which will win in the engagement. It's going to be actually going down both backliners. Tectonic Shock must get used. And we get so many opportunities, so many kills. The TP comes in, the elimination does come in favor of Stay. Surely it does, but maybe a little bit too much tunnel vision, as we are kind of in that backline against the Soj and the Venture. The Genji should be able to clean things up alongside their teammates.
Just the Venture, and will be taken down. Shadowy, the only remaining member, but an attempt for the touch by Tommy is here. He's able to tag on for a second, but can't live forever. This is so chaotic, but at 89% Brigged Up, end up able to take it, and that's off the back of a Graviton Surge that wiped out both supports. Great turn from Brigged Up.
Shadow with the Dragon Blade, by the way. Only thing online for Brigged Up. Continuing rush and the overclock can use in tandem with one another. The Suzu comes through, the blade ripped open, ripping the entirety of T4T open. Oh, it is just a beautiful team kill here for Brigged Up. What a response.
That is perfect. That's exactly what you want. Now you're one relatively chill fight away from wrapping up this series in 3-0 fashion. I mean, you've got to be absolutely salivating at the prospect. Close second soon, Rush Horseboy has to finish it before the fight begins.
And that's why they're so pushed up. Look, they're trying to stuff them out before they get to the point. But of course, Venture's Venture. Gonna get there either way. Stomp, stomp, stomp onto 4 people. The charge is insane for Rose, though. And we have the Sound Barrier. No Lamb from Bluey, who has now gone over to the Baptiste. But Horseboy goes down, Falling gets traded off. There's no frontline pressure from Brigged Up as we get rid of Hamble Sauce in the engagement. And the flip happens right underneath their noses. T4T are going to bring us over to a round number 5.
Wow. We keep on going. I mean, whilst the scoreline is 2-0, well, we have been talking about how T4T have yet to take a map. Each of these individual maps have been incredibly close, right? This one going to be no exception. And they look to start this next fight off with an advantage. That Graviton Surge is terrifying for Brigged Up.
And they got so much value the last time on the previous point. With that being said, we move things over. And this is where it has to all be laying the floor here for T4T to bring us to a round number 4, right? That being said, we have the punish onto the Malga Cardiac Overdrive, not enough to keep him alive in the engagement, but the Tectonic Shock, I mean, we're trying to LOS it by, platforming, by going up to the high ground to get away from that shock, but it's not going to be enough. Just poor old Fallen back on the Tracer, shut down, and the first lick of this point goes to Brigged Up.
Yeah, well played from them. I have to say, Stain is, I mean, for sure the MVP for me, at the very least. Just that adventure that we're on now, finding that double kill. T4T don't really have a chance to use their Graviton Surge. Now you've got the sound barrier for it, and as long as Rose doesn't have energy, they're going to have to invest everything to force kills through it.
Oh, they're gonna, why not use the Graviton Surge? Now here comes the sound barrier against it, and the cage fight, but the power, the output is just way too much for Brigged Up to handle, even though they did invest a couple of ultimates, and they also got a couple of sneaky trade-offs. But no Hamble, it's just a trying to stay alive, trying to stall, but inevitably it just goes up to a measly 55%. Oh, Lucio, my bad. Okay, Vincio.
Nice moves, actually. He's getting a good amount of extra percentage points here. No, I was just staying on the opposite side of the Zarya survives on a sliver of HP. The Malga's back, the fight's back on.
It is, but there's a flip here spec. That's the important part, and the window giving all this space back in favor of T4T. Shadowy does have the Dragon Blade. We have Sound Barrier to mitigate it from Tommy. It just has to be used correctly. But you know what? No need to use our Sound Barrier. Just kill Shadowy in the interim phase.
Honestly, I was about to say how you were absolutely happy about that if you're Brigged Up. Your Lucio lives for a bit, he gets out your opponent's window, but Shadowy going down, unfortunately, makes that house of cards collapse. Coming into the only fight that Brigged Up need. You do have a Blade. You use that to force the sound barrier, then investigate Sooner Rush. That's what you have to do. Blade out. Speed now.
Oh.
What we gonna do now is live.
Now that was target number 1 was that Lucio. Good bubble, but Tommy's just too far in that back area. The flip. Spinning flip in the middle of the point. Oh, that's it. That has to be it. That's GG's. Take my hand. Horsborg goes down. Bluey taking down the opposition, but Rose is going to be the one to go down in that engagement. So is Bluey. We flip it again, but we got to slide out for Fallen. Fallen can't 1v5, 1v3. The rest of the team here, they get jumped by this Venture. The overclock committal is there, but Tommy, I mean, you are just being pushed away from the point at 90%. It's going to be flipped over to Brigged Up.
See if the Lucio can even touch the Venture. There for the mark. Misses that initial drill dash, but the overtime wick has got started. It is frenzied. A touch doesn't manifest. And so 3-0 Brigged Up, able to take the series.
T4T just Tommy had to disengage right before dying. Had to peek the Zarya to get the bubble onto himself, and then suddenly you just couldn't re-engage back fast enough for that touch. It's unfortunate, but my god, was that a fantastic series all around. 3-0, but either way, 5 rounds of New York City, overtime rounds on Numbani. I mean, Control was really the only one where Brigged Up got a pretty uncontested 2-0, right? That was the only map that was like, that's a Brigged Up map.
But even then, it was still like 70-90% on both those points. Like,
yep.
Super competitive. EU Masters division at the top tier is separated by a matter of inches. Just today, it was Brigged Up, who were a little bit better, and I think they show that so consistently on multiple different compositions, multiple different map types. They've really ran the whole gamut, and I'm super impressed by what I've seen here today.
I mean, you can say they were Brigged Up, weren't they? I'm sorry.
Ha,
They just were. They just were. You're just mad 'cause I'm right. And they were. And they lived up to their namesake. Absolutely fantastic series from both of these teams here. I could not have had it any other way. But as always, we have interview candidates lined up for you guys. So on the other end of this break, we're gonna get them into this into our voice chat. We're gonna talk about them about the good, the bad, the ugly of this series and how they feel going into the playoffs in just about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We'll see you guys at the other end of this break.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo.
And we're back. Of course, we have not one. We never do just one interview. We gotta do always two of the victors from Brigged Up. I am very happy to introduce not just Stein, but also Vincio. So, guys, very wonderful series you guys just had. A 3-0, but not without some bloodshed. Can you guys kind of walk me through, were you guys expecting it to go this way? And what kind of changes were you guys making between map 1, 2, and 3 to get the win today?
Oh wait, you can speak first, Tim.
T4T was obviously the top one, so we didn't underestimate them, and we put in a ton of work in making comps and getting better, obviously.
Yeah, and I think this series today, it really tested our team's versatility because the Nimbani game and the New Junk City game, we really had to kind of counter comp to our comps. It tested our team's versatility, and just we were able to play many different things in a high level.
I mean, I think my first question is going to be, especially on Numbani, I think. One thing I was mentioning a lot was that a lot of people were dying pre-fight, both on your team and the others. Can you maybe put into words if you guys noticed that and maybe why you think it was happening?
Yeah, I think the deaths pre-fight, some of them can be due to mistakes. I don't want to mention it, some people, but, you know, mistakes happen. But I think it's also due to the fact that both teams were running relatively like fragile backlines. Anakiri, Mercy Kiri, Kiri Mercy, like it's all of these kind of, they don't have survivability that much, and sometimes you just get, you know, one shot and it happens.
Yeah, and then my second question is probably going to be, did you expect it to kind of be this way? Because you mentioned you didn't underestimate them in any way, but this was an incredibly hard-fought series. You end up, you know, taking the win on each. So how much of that would you say came down to planning? How much of that would you say came down to, you know, on-the-spot improvisation?
So I've actually, I took the time to look over codes between Smile and T4T, because they were obviously the number first and second team, and I made notes about repeated mistakes, and we applied that in how we can beat T4T, and it has helped a lot. And at the same time, I looked at last match when we played them and tried to get improvement going on the part where we lacked.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I love to hear that you guys did your own research. You guys were very much ready to go for this series. It definitely sounds like, and that is something that I think is so underappreciated. It's so underused, I guess, is, you know, researching your other team, seeing their mistakes, and really honing in on those mistakes that they always make, right? So really well done, because it clearly showed out for you guys. A 3-0 was in fact there. With that being said, it's a little bit late, I know that, so I'll give you guys one final question, and that is just gonna be who you guys want to give a shout out to on the broadcast.
I'd actually want to shout out myself I recently I've made I've made a roster reveal for my team. It's on my
Ooh.
YouTube channel. It took a lot of effort, and my entire team took part in it. And I would really appreciate it if the viewers in today's stream would go check it out, send some support to the players, the coaching staff, and our supporters as well. I would like to shout out our supporters. Yep.
For taking the effort into actually looking into the notes, what is something obvious but doesn't always happen, and at the same time that we actually put in effort to improve, and we are just supporting each other in general as a team.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Love to hear it. Fantastic plays from the entire team. And I can't wait to see you guys ideally next week into the and into the playoffs. And you know, you guys are doing absolutely fantastic in the standings. So again, big congrats, big shout outs to you guys and the rest of the team. And we can't wait to see you guys next time on the broadcast.
Yes. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a good one, guys.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Oh, I love interviews. I always say that. I'm always like, oh, I love interviews. I just love talking to people. But yeah, Spec. I mean, they said it. They did their research. They did what they had to do. They found the mistakes. They saw the victories that they needed to do, and they made it work. And they made it happen in a 3-0 fashion, but very, very hard fought one.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the disadvantages of being on the top, right? Other people are going to be looking at how to depose you as much as possible. You know, if we spoke to T4T, I wonder how much, you know, scouting they might have done. And, you know, now they've taken this loss, how much they might do in the future. We saw how close it was today. And I gotta say, looking forward to playoffs, that rematch sounds absolutely tantalizing.
Oh, if I'm T4T, there is definitely a fire in my gut, you know, especially if we're going into the playoffs and we're going to be ideally going back into each other. Oh, yeah. I am looking at this with my eyes wide open. So with that being said, that is the end of our broadcast. Big shout outs as always to our producer and our observer, Echo and Lottie. Absolutely wonderful job as always. Spec, it is always a pleasure. 100%. 100,000%. Fact, actually, I'm gonna go even further.
Damn.
Just for you. Just
big
for you.
promotion. Thank you very much. Very kind.
You
You're
have
not so
now
bad
become
yourself.
my elite employee, is what you are. But with that being said, promotion aside, of course, have a wonderful night, everybody, and we'll see you guys a little bit later for some more CGL 16